Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Training Industry Leader Talk, Upskilling Employee Technical Skills, sponsored by CommLab India, Guide, Revature, VR Vision, and WhatFix. I'm Avery Vo, Events Coordinator here at Training Industry, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. Before we get started, I'm just going to go over a few housekeeping items to help you interact with our speakers and get the most out of today's program. Throughout today's event, please feel free to use the chat for comments and submit questions in the Q&A panel. All questions will be addressed during the event or at the end of the program during our Q&A section. At the end of the event, you'll also notice a short survey has popped open in your browser, and we'd appreciate your thoughts on today's event. As always, all of our sessions are being recorded and will be archived on trainingindustry.com, and you will receive a follow-up email from us with a link to the on-demand sessions. If this is your first Training Industry event, special welcome goes out to you. Training Industry exists to make connections among learning and development professionals. We offer tons of resources to support your role in L&D through live events like today's Leader Talk, as well as through articles on our website, our magazine, conferences, research reports, and our podcast. We would love to hear what you've learned from today's session on social media, so please follow us on your favorite platforms and let's continue the conversation. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to today's speaker. RK has nurtured CommLab India from concept to commercial success and is responsible for formulating the business strategy and fostering customer relationships. An entrepreneur at heart, RK has more than 35 years of experience in sales, corporate training, university teaching, and e-learning. He regularly conducts seminars and webinars for customers across the world on various topics of technology-enhanced learning. And with that, RK, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Avery. Thank you for the introduction. And I take great pleasure in welcoming all the participants across the world. And those of you who are also trainers like me, I'm sure there's nothing which energizes a trainer than a very participative and enthusiastic audience. So I would encourage you to participate. You can ask your questions whenever you wish, and I will try and answer them as I'm going along. If not, I will do it at the end of the session. So are you able to see my screen, please?
Yep, looks great.
Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the earlier sessions, more or less on the same subject, but from different angles. So I will be talking a little bit differently, as you will see in the later slides. So we are talking about essentially technical training, but here the additional dimension is that we will be talking about how to tackle age-old technical training problems with AI. Now, for those who don't know CommLab, it's a very quick recap. We have been there for the last 25 years. We started in 2000 when e-learning just made its entry. So what we pride ourselves as our unique strengths and value, which we offer our customers, is design and development at scale and speed, customer delight through massive value, thought leadership and customer education. And essentially our services are covered under the umbrella of custom e-learning. We don't do anything else except that in its various forms and avatars like video creation. As our audience or our customers are worldwide, we are very good at translations. And now we also offer the solution of staff augmentation to augment your own internal teams with our instructional designers and graphic designers and so on and so forth. So that is about CommLab. And we go to the next slide. I want to very quickly, recap our understanding of what exactly we mean by technical training. And quickly move on further. So I think all of us will agree that training in the corporate situation can be divided roughly into two categories. One being soft skills and another being hard skills. So when we talk about soft skills, we can think about leadership training, team building, counseling, coaching, even selling skills. These are all behavioral trainings, which after a lot of resistance from the industry, e-learning got accepted to even tackle these training needs, I mean the behavioral ones. When it comes to the hard skills, what we mean by that is basically technical training. Training which encompasses product knowledge, procedural knowledge, software and systems, how to use them, role-based mastery of specific jobs, and of course, troubleshooting workflows and everything to do with how our people do their jobs with equipment, with processes, is what we call technical training. And the essential difference between technical training and behavioral training is that behavioral training is more generic. I'm sorry, I forgot to add the third category, which is compliance training. We all know what compliance training is. It can be internal compliance or it can be mandatory external compliance. Now, coming back to the difference between those two and technical training is mostly very proprietary. It is very specific to the industry and very, very specific to the company in which the industry operates. So that actually is a big problem. Let us see what the problem is. But before we go there, please think about what kind of problems are you now facing in technical training. We'll come to that in the next slide. But if I have to describe the current state of technical training in the sense that what are the hindrances, what are the bottlenecks, because the content of the training is very proprietary, very technical, very difficult to understand, because it falls under the functions of manufacturing, quality, R&D, and so on and so forth, logistics, which are very technical subjects. And added to that, each company will have its own specific adaptations of how they do things. So content is a very big issue. Then most of technical training doesn't come under centralized L&D. Usually it is handled by functions themselves. How? With their SMEs, subject matter experts, and sometimes vendors who supply them the equipment and software. So you can imagine, as being L&D professionals, you can imagine how much of L&D SME will know or a vendor will know. And they have very, very less time. They get pulled in many directions. Usually for most of the large companies, we have standard operating procedures, which may have come out of some kind of quality documentation like ISO or TQM or something like that. And the content is taken from there. And also a lot of random content is shared in the form of PowerPoints and stuff like that. Very little, focus is given on competence. They just want to complete it, maybe sometimes mandatory. They rely more on the-job training and on-the-job coaching as far as technical, training is concerned. And of course, like any other training, L&D is usually seen as a cost, not as a value. So this is this state of affairs as far as technical training is concerned. But can you share one or two of your biggest, pain points? Yeah, I have resource constraints and maintenance for updates. Excellent. Not many people sign up. There is no traction. Getting people off the floor. Excellent. Technical training can also be seen very dry. I think you guys got the thing. You are very much inside the the difficulties of professionalism. I have Laurie who says that SME availability to deliver training, and in case of healthcare, I think Kay says that to give physicians an opportunity to actually practice, it takes longer to produce. Yes, unreliable testing. Yeah, excellent. Time I get asked to turn around. Yeah. So all these things are something we all share that burden. But then let us see how we can fix. If we talk about an ideal world, and we talk about an ideal situation of technical training, I would say that something which solves these problems. We know content is a very big problem. We also know that the system itself is, like, I would say, it drags. It is too slow. It is too dependent on SME. And to a great extent, just like any other training, I'm not pinpointing at technical training. It is far removed from what is the progress made, and there is no measurement. So in this kind of a scenario, our ideal solution would be reduce the time and cost of designing and developing and launching these programs. But we want the solution also to be very, very specific, focused, just in time, just enough, and training at the point of need. That will create, not only it saves time of the participants, but also they will look forward to it because it adds value when they want it and just enough. Okay, now if that is the solution, let us start with each one of them. I will quickly finish with the SMEs effort.
Hi, RK.
Again,
Sorry to interrupt you. Your slides are no longer showing.
Oh, since when? Okay, just a minute.
I think when you jumped to the reviewing the chat, they disappeared.
Okay. 1 minute. I'm sorry about that. So I will not put it in share presentation mode. Okay, now are you able to see?
Yeah, you just need to make sure it's in the full screen mode.
Yeah, but whenever I go off to see the chat, then it is kicking me out of the share screen. Anyway, okay.
Perfect.
So as I said, the ideal solution is, I think this is where we missed. So I'll quickly go through it. We know the problem is not just the content, but also the system, the dependency on SMEs, disconnected with what exactly the participants want. And in an ideal world, in an ideal situation, we would like to reduce time and cost. We would like to have the training just in time, just enough, and just at the point of need. Because a lot of you have shared inputs of it is very difficult to get them off the floor. It's very difficult to sign them on. And we know SMEs want to load everything they know onto the participant. So this is an ideal solution. Now, when it comes to SMEs effort, ideally, we would like to have very few touch points. We want to have a kickoff where we capture everything he wants to say. Then we want to work on it, show it to him as a visual feedback, get an okay, ASAP, validate, sign off, and do it. That is an ideal situation, but it never happens. Now, let us come to how AI can release these bottlenecks, right? So I would request you to alert me if there is any question.
Absolutely.
because I can't see the chat. Okay. Now, I want to deal with these 5 areas of training. First, of course, is collecting and curating the content. Like, we get all kinds of content in different formats, different authors, different complexity. Everything related to that subject is thrown at us. How do you wade through this and come out with a clean learning content, which is the second part? And then how do we review, revise, and finalize? Then how do you publish it? And sometimes translate it to many languages. So I'm going to address all these things. So going to the next slide. Now, I think this is an easy part. I think all of us, or at least most of us, have teams, and we have Copilot, which quickly captures. I mean, like if you're having a meeting with the SME and he's giving you a presentation of the content which he has, usually a PowerPoint, you can record it the way Avery is now recording our this thing. And it can also transcribe quickly. And if he is a native speaker, then there will be almost no errors in the transcription. But if it is somebody like me, then the pronunciation may be a problem, but you can quickly go through it and you can, in very, very little time, you can capture and transcribe the SMEs input. One pro tip here is it is always better to use a structured template during the SMEs session, because SMEs tend to talk a lot and they don't really structure the content. So if you can give them a framework of doing it, I think that will help them a lot, and that will help us a lot. And coming to the next one is to summarize and structure the raw content. So we have the transcripts. Now we have to see the learning objectives, and we have to scope the content. We have to create an outline with topics. We have to set some kind of very specific measurable learning objectives. So here we find that ChatGPT or Claude or any other Gen AI tool is of great use. So you have ChatGPT. I'm sure a lot of you are using it, Claude or Copilot, or, you have so many. But I really don't know how much your organizations allow you to do that. That is something which I think at your level you have to handle that. Now, there are other plugins like Notion AI, Obsidian, Scribe software, and so on. One good prompt is that with the same content, you can generate multiple, finished content. Like you can say, extract 5 critical tasks, common mistakes, draft 2 minutes, this thing. The same thing you can say, you generate it into many formats, as you will see now. So you can see that turn this interview into a role play scenario, quick reference guide, and a quiz. So you can imagine the kind of time it saves. And all you have to do is keep reviewing. You have a wonderful assistant. Okay. Then comes the actual, developing the media. And I think most of you know these tools, which are AI driven, Beyond, Synthesia, Midjourney. All these are very powerful tools. All you have to do is give them the script, and then they give you the asset. So you have other less known tools like Pictory and Descript. Some of them are free, so you can use them. Now, just to quickly recap, an example of the workflow when it comes to taking the content from the SME is to record the session in Zoom or Teams or whatever, transcribe it with the same tool or with Firefly, summarize with ChatGPT, draft 3 microlearning modules. We'll come to why microlearning in the next slide. Create a prototype in Beyond or Synthesia. Get visual feedback from SME. Again, it can be your conferencing software. Visualize, finalize and localize if needed with SmartCat, which is an AI-driven translation tool, and then you use microlearning platforms to deliver, which I will deal in the next session, next slide. So, any questions here?
None so far, no.
Okay, I hope they're able to hear me properly. Okay, so when it comes to delivery, we all are used to the standard 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes, self-learning, self-paced learning, which have some formative assessments, and a summative assessment. We deliver that via an LMS. That is the usual procedure. But what happens is that has lost its novelty, and it has slowly become, I would say, very ineffective and obsolete. So the new delivery modalities, according to our experience with our customers, is that the modality should be such that the learning should be adaptive. It means that depending on the learner, how much he already knew of the subject and how fast he is going with his learning, the content should be delivered as such. In the same way, we all know about our forgetting curve. In exactly 7 days, the participant will forget more than 50%. So we can't keep on, reassigning the course. So spaced repetition of certain important learning points will greatly battle the spaced repetition. It keeps pushing the recall curve up. And then, of course, gamification. Somebody pointed out that the content is very dense, very boring, very dry. So you see, those guys may be very experienced, grizzled kind of veterans. But who wants to read the dry content? If there is some gamification, some interaction, some engagement, it will make their life easy. So your modality and your content should follow these best practices. So when it comes to how do you deliver it, then we have microlearning platforms like QStream, Axonify, MaxLearn, Adapt. There are so many. And most of the top of the breed LMSs have a module. I think the earlier session was Whatfix. I think that also does this very well. And you have many more on this, not just. So I would encourage you to think in terms of not just the content, but how are you delivering this content and on what kind of formats are you delivering it. So we would recommend that you use microlearning, which is just 2 to 5 minutes, interactive videos, simulations, quick reference guides, online FAQs. These are the content which can be easily digestible. And how many of you, I don't know, read the famous book Atomic Habits? So in that book, he says that start with a small habit which your mind won't put off. You want to go to the gym, don't start there. You start with saying, I'll do 1 push-up. So in the same way, if you have to inculcate this learning, audience should be able to complete it and feel good about it. So if you give them a long course, you lose them. So suppose you give him just 1 video and spaced repetition, he'll complete that, he'll feel good, and he'll come back for more. Research has shown that microlearning has a substantially higher rate of completions than the traditional ones. Okay.
RK, can I jump in with a question that came through the chat?
1 minute. Yes. Chat. Yes, where are we? Yeah, I think
from Damon.
It's Damon. If you are creating training for proprietary systems, you need to include video demonstrations. Have you found any tools that work for helping keep these up to date with new releases more easily than, of course, Damon. Most of these proprietary tools, like if you possess a tool, let us say we are talking about, I know the slides have gone. Just give me a minute. I'll go back. I'm just answering Damon here. So let us say you want videos, so you go to a Beyond or Synthesia. Now, if you possess a tool there, which, by the way, is very secure, you will be given a secure cloud space where you have your proprietary content. So as long as you have the license and you're using it, nobody can access that. It is all GDPR and ISO 27001 secure, which means that it is very difficult to for that content to leak out. When you don't want to use the tool, you have given up the license, you can delete all that. So if you hold a license, you can very easily update. Or if you engage a vendor or a partner like us, we have all these tools and we have our own secure servers. So we can do that for you. Okay, I'm going back. Okay, so guys, you got your questions answered, so I'm going ahead. So the format of learning, we would strongly recommend that they are micro-learning. And you may think that if the subject is, say, 1 hour long, how many 5 minutes will you make? Or how many 2 minutes will you make? But you can bundle them into packages and allow the learner to do just 1 or 2 of them and keep giving him encouragement that so many to go. This is what works, content and delivery system, both together. Now coming to the last point, which is how do you demonstrate this value? It has been $1 million question for L&D professionals right from day one. For every training, it is always seen as a cost. And it is very difficult to show the ROI. Everybody knows, I always give, talk about these analogies like everybody knows about ghosts, but nobody has seen a ghost, that kind of a thing. Everybody knows training is very valuable, but how much valuable, we don't know. We can't tell the powers to be, the management. So it has always been a very tricky thing. But with LMS and e-learning, we have moved at least one step further. As you can see, the Kirkpatrick Phillips model gives us 5 levels of measurement. All we had earlier was reaction, your happy sheets, like how Every is now going to give you a survey where you will just give your own reaction to it, whether you're happy or not. So that's how we used to do it in classrooms, and that's how LMSs usually do it. And there are some AI native apps to help us. But with LMS and with structured e-learning, we moved one step ahead with learning, measuring how much they have learned. So almost every, or I would say all LMSs can accommodate and track and give you the scores of the summative assessments, right? But you can go deeper. If your LMS is AI powered, or some of these platforms, they use AI to go much deeper than just the scores. They can actually give you actionable data on the fact that how much a particular participant spent on a particular slide, or which of the formative assessments are majorly people are getting wrong, and stuff like that. Of course, we have application, business impact, ROI, and so on and so forth. So these are the 5 levels. And for the first time, in my career of more than 35 years, I'm seeing something, some tool which can help me measure this without tying myself in knots. There are other ways. If you visit roiinstitute.net, which is Jack Phillips's company, which came out with the ROI model, he gives a lot of statistical methods. But at the end of the day, how do you crunch the numbers? How do you take out the essence out of it? Is left to us. But with AI, you can now do it very, very easily. But coming to the next part, analysis. This is where I get very excited. You see, we just get the measurement part of it. Now, all this analysis, earlier, we were doing it with just our own, little tools like maybe an Excel sheet or some kind of very simple statistical software where we tried to see what happened, the descriptive analysis of the scores or completions or any patterns or trends which are there in the final scores. We were doing it ourselves. We were trying to do an analysis and we are trying to see if there is any trend which we can act upon. Maybe if a question is coming wrong most of the time by most of the people, maybe there is no content to support that question. Maybe the question is framed badly, things like that. Then when it comes to the other three, which are more advanced analysis, diagnostic, which means why did that happen? Predictive, what is likely to happen? And prescriptive, what do I do next? These kind of analysis we never did. We used to wish that we could do that. But now with AI, you can not only do the descriptive, but you can do diagnostics. You can do root cause analysis, text clustering, skill gap tagging. You can do predictive. You can say if this continues, what will happen to the learner? Right? So you will actually identify other skill gaps for a group of learners or a single learner. So you can actually forecast who will fail and who needs retraining or who are excelling and they should not be in this program. And prescriptive. It will give you suggestions of what kind of actions you need to take. So this is something for me, it is out of a dream world. But with AI tools, and most of them you can see that you can recognize a lot of them, that you can actually do this. Now, coming to reporting, I think once we have good data, we do our analysis. I think a simple Power BI with Copilot can give you beautiful visuals, which, the pictures and the colors, guys will, understand quickly the management. But you do have other things like Canva, AI chat, and, most of us use Canva. And there are some not so known like Google Looker Studio and stuff like that. So just to recap, we can solve the SME problem, we can solve the content problem, we can solve the design development and measurement problem to a very great extent with AI, right? So when we come to, this is a bonus, I just kept it at the last minute. A lot of us actually, yesterday, one of our customers asked us, do you have any AI tool which will in a real time show me the training needs, identify training needs. So, we answered them like this. See, you can do it real time. You don't need to conduct surveys or wait for your performance appraisals feedback. You can, as they are doing, you can collect that in real time. So that is the beauty of AI. And I'll go quickly through these case studies, and I think we still have 10 minutes time. Avery, am I right?
Yep, you have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, so we have a case study. This is a global medical device company, and they had to retrain their entire sales and service force on a new safety protocol and through compliance. So this is a mandatory thing for external regulatory authorities like FDA and so on. So the challenge is there were 110, uh, 1100 and 1100 staff spread over 14 countries, and they just had a month's time. So what we did is we did exactly the same thing what I recommended. We had a 16-minute call with the SME. We used ChatGPT for content drafting. We used Beyond 11 labs for audios, very, very human-like. Canva and Jasper. Jasper is again another ChatGPT-like thing, which is very good for certain tasks. Then we are a preferred partner of all these AI tools, including SmartCat. Delivery reinforcement, yes, we use our microlearning platform, and we delivered that with reinforcement, adaptive learning, and things like that. So within 3 weeks, we could train 300 people. 92 passed the initial certification. Maybe it is not only due to this, maybe it is because mandatory people did take. And field support calls, this is very important, where it shows application, dropped by 34% in the 60 minutes. And sales rep reported greater confidence and improved customer conversations. This is a great feather in our cap when we use AI. And the second thing is for a logistics company, it's a Europe-based company. It is a multinational, of course. It is probably the largest logistics company in the world. And they came to us to retrain 600 ground operation staff after 2 critical near-miss accidents. So again, same process. We did a little bit differently, of course. We used AI tools to generate 10 emergency scenarios, branching simulations allowing staff to choose responses in terms of vehicle breakdown, package spillage, miscommunication. Beyond visualize the simulation with real cargo outlays, which the client shared with us. MaxLearn pushed follow-up decision drills over the next 4 weeks. So again, we did great. We got great results. The icing on the cake is a learner's feedback says, finally training that feels like my job. So it kind of got integrated into his job. So that is, I'm sure, a great thing to hear. And finally, we have a case study 3. These are very recent, probably a month or 2 old. An industrial equipment company built a learning ecosystem for 3,000 sales and service staff across North America and Europe. Obviously, we had to train them on that ecosystem. The components are such. So again, we used a lot of AI tools, and we got very, very, gratifying results. So I would like to go to the last slide and try to assure you and encourage you that AI disruption is real and accelerating. Today, I heard from my team that there were so many customers who asked us to give in writing that we will not use AI tools for their work. This kind of fear and hesitation I have seen when microlearning also was mobile learning has come into play about 10 years ago. There were customers who said, don't talk about mobile learning or else you'll get blacklisted here. Because of the internal power plays between IT, L&D, HR, all these things happen. But I can be very, very confident here saying that you cannot stop AI to come into your companies and into your jobs. If not today, tomorrow it's going to come. And it is accelerating at a great speed. So you either lead it or you'll be left behind. We must evolve and remain relevant and competitive. Finally, we have, I think, our own training guys and our own operations people have put together a training program which will train you on all these AI tools. So if you are interested, you can always reach out to us. So can we now go for questions? We have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
I saw one question come through when you were on case study number 1. Kay had a question. How long did it take you to build this, and how long was the training?
1 minute. Let me go back to that slide. Slide 1. Case study 1, right?
Yes.
Case study 1, we completed it in 3 weeks. And I really don't know how much of seat time the whole learning took place because it was in micro-learning. But we can answer that question. If you are really wanting that information, you just drop us a mail. We can give you all the details about what is the seat time that we gave. 3 weeks is what we took.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Another question here. How do you ensure technical accuracy when using Gen AI tools to create content?
Beautiful question. Really appreciate it. As I said, technical content which is proprietary to a company, one will be very cautious. I mean, that is one reason why they do most of the technical training in-house. They don't give it to vendors unless they are very reliable and have been working with them for many years or have subject knowledge expertise within their own teams, or else they do something with their own SMEs. So how do you ensure accuracy? See, the thing is the base content which you take is straight out of the mouth of the SME. You can always correlate. He may also be, mistaken. I have cases where SMEs got it wrong and we got it. So what we do is we correlate and compare it with SOPs, which again, you can do it very easily with AI. Okay. So it will highlight where all it is contradicting the SOP. That is one thing. Second thing is, when we simplify the content and make it into more learner enabled, it will no longer be so dense. Okay. You can easily show that to your SME to validate, or you can do some other thing. You can actually take out all the factual details and give him in a piece of paper. I mean, send him a document. Is this all right? This is what is there in the course. So you can ensure to a very great extent, but we should always remember there is always human error, and human error is compounded by AI. So garbage in, garbage out.
Awesome. Okay, I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Can you provide some tips for how someone could get buy-in from SMEs when using AI-generated content?
Yeah, this is more a political question. see, the thing is that we in L&D, I actually worked as an L&D manager before, CommLab. We have to be, we can't be order takers. So I always ask my people as well as my customers, L&D teams, how much time do you spend in design and development and analysis and all that stuff, the ADDIE thing? How much time do you actually spend sitting with the stakeholder and the learner? See, they will get, those guys will give you buy-in when they realize there's value in that. When they realize their job is becoming simpler, they are cutting their work. So probably initially with a SME, you get it all colors and sizes. You know, some are very, very gruff and short-tempered, and but they are the best. If you get through to them, they will really help. The other guys, yeah, that will get done. You know, I'm on top of the thing. You can expect it tomorrow. It will never come. Those are the more dangerous guys. So it is all your human skills. And as L&D people, you are basically from HR. So you have to use your, you know, your emotional quotient, understand the person and cater to his insecurities. Boils down to one word: relationships.
Love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And with that, we are unfortunately all out of time, but thank you, RK, so much for your time today. It's really been a great session. And with that, I'm going to just provide some information on how to attend our final session for the day. So thank you again, RK. And we will be taking about a 15-minute break. And then up next, we have Dan Sahar from Guide for their session, Video Training on Autopilot, Scale Content Creation and Delivery with AI. So in just a moment, I'm going to end this session, and you can join our next session by returning to the event lobby and going to the session tab. So we hope to see you all.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Yeah,
And
yes.
thank you, Avery.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
RK. Have a great day.